Hi everybody, this is Lara at pureelliottwave.com. I'm going to analyse XRP with you today. I've had quite a few requests for this, probably because of this strong upward movement last week. So let's have a look. I lost all my data for XRP and I've lost all my previous work, so I'm going to start with a new Elliott wave count. Let's look at it on a monthly chart. This is on an arithmetic scale. Look at the extreme volatility of this market. A huge spike, an absolutely massive crash, another smaller spike, and another crash. So let's see, I can't exactly remember how my wave count was. Let's first of all view this on a semi-log scale so this makes sense. Excuse me. There we are. Oh God, I had a mini heart attack thinking that it was gone again. No, here it is. Okay, I can see a 5 up to here, 3 down to here, 5 up, 3 down. Let's put that in. As I do this, I'm going to talk through how I'm using Motive Wave. This is to help my new analyst in training, to give him some little tips on how I use it. So this is a good one because it's showing you how I'm doing a wave count from the very start. So I'm going to drag and drop the Elliott wave structure I want, and then I'm going to make it sure it's at the right degree. I want an impulse at cycle degree, and I'm going to start my wave count down here. I'm going to have 1 over up here, 2 over down here, and then I'm just going to pull these over to the right so they're out of the way. Put the cursor over the pathway and right click on a Windows, I think, decompose. I want this to be an impulse. And now we need to put some details on these structures. Drag this over. I think this looks like an impulse. Put the pathway, put the cursor on, it changes. Right click, or on a Mac control click. I think on a Windows it's right click. Decompose impulse. Nope, I want 1 up here. I want 2 down here. I think 4 looks like some kind of triangle. I'll put 3 up here, 4 there. I'm choosing an impulse because this is what that looks like. It's got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 count. So if that's an impulse up, this is a corrective structure down. I'm going to say it might be a double zigzag because from this high to this low I can see 1, 2, 3, X, and I think 1, 2, some kind of wave in here, I don't know. But I'm not going to worry too much about that detail. Put the cursor over the pathway, see how it changes. Control click or right click, decompose combination is what you need for a double zigzag. And I'm just going to get some details in here. Zigzag for W and a zigzag for Y. I don't know. I think maybe A and B here, and I think some kind of leading diagonal here because there's an overlap. I'm just looking at the wavelengths. 3 is shorter. Okay, when you click on a wave, you get these numbers. The first number is the price point at which the wave is locked into. The second number in brackets is the length here from high to low. Minor 1 is 0.49, and the third number is how many periods it's lasted. So this is a monthly chart, so here this has lasted 3 months. So I'm checking wavelengths to my leading diagonal. 3 is shorter than 1, 5 is shorter than 3, 4 is shorter than 2. That meets rules. It looks like the trend lines, so to put the trend lines in, analysis, show channel. The trend lines are converging. The 5th wave overshoots the 1-3 trend line. That looks like a perfect diagonal. Okay. Now I've already analysed this one previously for primary 1. This fits as a leading expanding diagonal. And nope, 4 has to go down there. Show channel. And I think 2, what did I have 2 as? Oh, I think it was a single zigzag. It looks like a single zigzag, doesn't it? With A, B, let's see if there's no overlap within C though. Motive Wave says no. There is a big overlap here, isn't there? That's not going to work. There's no overlap there though. I'd have to check that on lower time frames. Does one end here or here? It makes a big difference to the structure of intermediate C. Okay, that's my monthly chart. Command S to save that, or you can go File. Oh, I thought there would be a file save. Okay, well, I do Command S. I don't know how you're going to do that on a Windows machine. Now I'm going to do a weekly chart. I'm going to base it on this monthly chart. So I go up to the left here in this little page icon to create a new analysis. I'm going to label it weekly. And I'm going to show you why. When you move to a lower time frame, so here I'm moving from monthly. You see how all the labels are locked on the ends of the candlesticks that they should be on. When I go down to weekly, they've all moved. There's some other reasons why you want to do each time frame on a different workspace or different chart, but that's one of the biggest reasons for doing it this way. I'm just going to pull all these over. Oh, you see, now you're going to have an overlap. That's not going to work. Okay, I think C must be an ending diagonal. Let's have a look and see if that works. Yeah. Okay, checking wavelengths. 3 is longer than 1. 5 is shorter than 3. It doesn't look like it, does it? But this is a semi-log scale. So no, those wavelengths aren't going to work. Okay, I don't think that's a single zigzag. It's kind of a, well, no, it is slightly material, so we need to figure this out. Okay, so let's try a double zigzag. And I think I'm going to have W here as a zigzag, X an expanded flat. I think this is how I had it before. A, B, oh yeah, and now C looks like a really good 5-wave structure, doesn't it? Yeah, that's good. Oh, hang on, why are you putting those there, motive wave? And Y. Is this going to be a decent looking zigzag? I don't know. Is A going to subdivide as a leading diagonal? There's an overlap, so it can't be an impulse. 3 is longer than 1. 4 is shorter. No, that won't work. So can we have A, B, and then C, an impulse? Oh, it's not going to work. How did I have this before? Oh, is 2 some kind of combination? Nope. Okay, I'm just going to quickly see what did I do for this before. I've worked this out before. There's got to be. Oh, I just left 3 like that. Okay. Well, then the alternate's obvious, isn't it? I left this here. Could be. The alternate's going to be obvious, so I'm going to save that. Let's snap this in too. And now I'm going to create an alternate. And this is rather obvious. Three over here, 4. And this is going to be really useful, this alternate. This looks better, doesn't it? 1 here, 2 probably up here, 3, 4, 5. How is 3 going to subdivide? I don't want to see, oh, what's this high? 91 and this high. Oh, no, let's see 2 over there. And so now subminuet C has ended at the same level. There's no truncation. That's okay. And now the third wave looks good. Okay, that alternate, to be honest, actually looks better, doesn't it? So far I have 2 weekly charts. This will be my main count because it has more support from classic analysis. I'm also used to third waves for cryptocurrencies looking like 3-wave movements. I'm going to check the subdivisions of this minute 3 on lower time frames to see if it does indeed subdivide as an impulse. I suspect there's a brief shallow 4th wave in here. Alternatively, at the weekly chart, this actually has a better look, although now minute 4 is 14 weeks compared to minute 2 at 3 weeks. So they are disproportionate. Let's put a channel around them. Let's use Elliott's first technique around this impulse. 4 is broken above the channel. It's broken above this, actually. It's closed above this. Let's put a channel around the whole movement. which is going to be much more conservative. I like to be as conservative as possible with my trend channels, and pull this down to, let's see here. Yeah. So this is a best fit channel. If we see a break above the upper edge of this channel, that would tell us that this bear market is over and the next bull market is in an early stage. So that would be a really bullish signal, a break above resistance at this trend line. Before price does break above that, I would expect resistance there. Minute 4 may not move into wave 1 price territory. This low is 0.61, just, yeah. So, and if you click on it, and I'm just hovering over this candlestick and I'm reading these numbers from down here, right down the bottom of my screen. The low of this week beginning 28th of November 2021 is 0.61. Just a note, Elliott wave analysis works on highs and lows, not open and close. It's highs and lows that are the most important metric for Elliott wave. So I'm just checking I've got my invalidation point correct. Yes, 0.61. A new high above that point would invalidate this alternate, and so that would add confidence to this main wave count. Let's put that in there. That's how that works. So even if the alternate is wrong, it's still going to be useful. Let's have a look at the daily. I'm going to base it on my main weekly because I want to look at these subdivisions of the third wave. So I'm going to call it daily. And I'm going to snap these in, and now I'm going to have a look at the subdivisions of this third wave. Okay, here's the whole of the third wave. First, let's look at the fourth wave. Is this a little triangle? A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, could be, but I'd rather want to see it over here because, oh no, it could be over here. Let's see. Is that going to work? A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, that works. Let's put the trend lines in. So right click and then analysis, show channel to put the trend lines in. Elliott wave triangle should adhere strictly to their trend lines. So this BD trend line, the lower trend line, you can see it's got multiple tests of support and now it's broken through. And now I can see a little 5-wave impulse for the 5th wave. Nope, not the emotive wave. Let's put that here. Okay, so let's look at this third wave. The third wave is the key to your wave count. It may only subdivide as an impulse. And emotive wave says you can't do it. I think you might be wrong on the emotive wave, but let's see. No, you can do it. How is this going to work though? Emotive wave says you can't do this either. I think it might be right in this instance. Yeah, there's a big overlap here, so is it down in here maybe? A brief shallow 4th wave. And now is the middle of the 3rd wave going to work? I don't put this here, this actually looks pretty good. And then the middle of the 3rd wave is looking really good. Okay, I am actually happy with that. Over the years of analysing Bitcoin on a very regular basis, I'm really used to this strong curved look of a 3rd wave. I'm used to it from commodities. It's even more extreme in cryptocurrencies. What's happening here is the 5th wave to end the 3rd wave 1 degree higher. This 5th wave is exhibiting really strong momentum, and this strong downward pull of the strong 5th wave pulls these little 4th waves down and makes them more brief and shallow than they would otherwise be. It happens so often with cryptocurrencies. I'm used to seeing impulses with this very curved look. Looks more like a zigzag than an impulse, but it happens because of that strong 5th wave. It can make analysing cryptocurrencies really difficult if you're not looking out for it. Okay, now we've had a look at that, and I'm happy with how that subdivides, and it's fine if you disagree with me, but that judgment is based on many years of experience with these markets. If you get these little warnings when you're trying to place your waves, so this little red warning says wave 3 does not complete beyond the termination of 1, so it hasn't met an Elliott wave rule, but I want to put that label here, not further up, because I want my chart expanded as much as possible. So what I do when I see that is highlight the wave that's got the problem, right click or control click, preferences, ignore issues, and it makes it go away. Let's analyze this most recent movement. Let's start to get some labels in here. I'm putting my cursor over the pathway. Decompose impulse. The third wave may only subdivide as an impulse. I think I'm going to bring this up here. I don't think that is intermediate degree, so I'm going to put these labels up here along my arrow, just put them to the side there. I'm going to decompose this as minor wave 1 could be over here, and minor wave 2 looks like some kind of combination. So let's try a combination. Okay, it could be a zigzag here, and then I'm thinking some kind of flat correction. Let's see if C subdivides okay as a 5. I think I want to have, oh, excuse me, motive wave, don't move that for me, thanks. I want to have this 1 over here. Oh, yeah, this is, oh, is there going to be an overlap? Oh, is there, please? Yeah, there is. Motive wave knows there is. So 3, I want to have it there. No, okay, so... Okay, what if we had 1, 2, and then 1 here? Why it won't snap it in? That low is 0.36 and this high is 0.37. Oh goodness, that's so close. But there's an overlap and I'm not going to accept that. The only other structure that C could be, something wrong with this data. It won't snap it into the right. Oh, how annoying. I got this, well, Caesar got this data for me from CoinDesk. Okay, an ending diagonal. 5 is shorter than 3. 3 is shorter than 1. 4 is shorter than 2. Do the trend lines work? They look like they're just contracting. Let's double check that. Let's grab an extended trend line and snap it into the same points here, excuse me, there. And yes, they are contracting. They need to be for an ending diagonal. Okay, that's okay. That works. Why can't it? How annoying. It just won't snap in, will it? To the low. Oh, okay. Leave it. This does look like a third wave, doesn't it? Pretty typical third wave behaviour. Let's get some labels in here and see how far through it could be. No, I think we've got a couple of overlapping first and second waves down here. Let's pull this third wave down here. And I think we've got another couple of overlapping first and second waves down here. So you've got another 1, 2, and we need to pull this down here. And now I think I can see, no, I think this strong upward session here of the 22nd, and I think that's why people wanted me to analyse this one, because of that movement. They wanted to know what was happening. I think it was the middle of a third wave. So we can move this invalidation point. I think I want to put it up here on this high. What is this high? 0.38. So that's my conclusion for XRP. Let's look at some technical analysis. Actually, before we go there, can I give you some targets maybe? Let's look back at how long was this third wave in relation to this first wave. It was 10.5. So primary 3 is 10.5 times the length of primary 1. So if we see that same relationship here between primary 1 and 3 within cycle 3, what would that be? I'm just going to check that because I'm having some trouble snapping my labels in. This high is 1.96. Yeah, I'm just checking that it's snapped correctly. And this low, 0.12, yeah, it snapped correctly, so my wavelength will be correct. So 1.84 was the wavelength times 10.5. $19.32 would be the length. Add that to the start, plus 0.29. My target is 19.61. I hope that math makes sense to my analyst in training. It's pretty simple, just addition. So here's my target for primary 3. If primary 3 to primary 1 exhibits the same relationship that primary 3 to primary 1 did within cycle 1, then that's a reasonable target, 19.61 for primary 3. Let's have a look at some technicals. I want to start first of all looking at this previous major low and compare and contrast it to this current low here back in June 2020. So this low here is the low of March 2020. The low was 12 cents. Let's have a look at some technicals for that. First thing to note off this low, there's no bullish candlestick reversal pattern. How did volume behave off the low? So volume increased on the last downward week. This is not a strong selling climax, but a bit of a selling climax. If we get rid of this, you can see a little bit more clearly. And then off the low, volume was weak. This low at 12 cents so far has been sustained. So it is a sustainable low for over a year or over 2 years. So it's a long-term sustained low, and volume and price were weak off that low. Look at a declining range, declining volume. This is what makes cryptocurrency lows so very, very hard to identify. There can be quite a lot of weakness off lows. It's not until we get into this week here that we start to really see some strength. Hits resistance at 31 cents. Okay, what about the other indicators? On balance volume did not make new lows with price. Here price on a closing basis has made lower lows. On balance volume has made higher lows. There is weakness in this downward movement according to on balance volume. That indicates weakness, which often occurs at the end of a trend. I think of it in terms of energy, like a huge ship trying to turn around. As it comes towards the end before it makes a turn, it has to slow down. And so your energy changes from one direction, or your momentum changes from one direction to the other. And before that change, the speed slows. ADX for this downward trend for this bear market. Finally caught up, indicating a bear market here, and so it didn't indicate an extreme downward trend. RSI did not reach oversold. This too exhibits bullish divergence. The close here to here, prices closed lower. RSI has got a higher low from this point to this point, bullish divergence. Money flow index, not really enough data at that point to use it. ATR increasing or declining here as price moves sideways. Price moves up, some increase in ATR. Price moves down, declining ATR throughout most of that bear market. Flat for this last bounce and an increase in the last bit of downward movement from ATR. This is the weekly chart level. And bullish divergence likewise, double bullish divergence between price and stochastics at the low. What about the current low? Let's compare and contrast. At the current low at the weekly chart level, this is almost a bullish candlestick pattern. The close here is 31. The open here is 30. Oh no, the open here is 31. Okay, so the body of this candlestick fully engulfs the body of the previous candlestick. At this low down here, there is a strong bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. And also there's one back here. This is the December 2020 low, and this one here on the weekly chart, June 2022. So December 2020, a strong bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. And again here. Here's a hammer candlestick pattern as well, almost a doji, another hammer, bullish long lower wick here. At the weekly chart level, this first bullish candlestick pattern does have some support from volume. Volume is stronger than the previous week. So here the bears were in charge, and the following week there were a few more bulls pushing price higher in that following week compared to the previous week. The bulls came back into the picture, and here they start to get really strong. So there's some strength off this low in December 2020. What about this one here? No, this bullish candlestick pattern does not have support from volume. I'd rather it did, but I've learned the hard way with cryptocurrencies because they can be quite weak off their lows. If a bullish candlestick reversal pattern doesn't have support from volume, it's not a deal breaker for a bullish case. Look at this strong volume here though. For the last completed week, we're now starting to see some decent increase in volume. So from this December 2020 low, the strongest volume are on upward weeks. And again, for recent movement, strongest volume on an upward week. That's a bullish volume profile. Between price and on-balance volume though, I see this as well with Bitcoin and now XRP. On-balance volume is making lower lows, but price is making to here higher lows. Now price moved lower, on-balance volume essentially same lows. So there's a little bit of bearish divergence there, using on-balance volume as a leading indicator. So I wouldn't call that hidden bullish divergence. As you'll see on a divergence cheat sheet, I'm using on-balance volume in the same way I use the AD line and VIX for an index. On-balance volume is a leading indicator. Where it leads, price may follow, but there is an example of this bearish divergence between price and on-balance volume in the price history of Bitcoin. If you look at the low of 2014 and you look at on-balance volume, you'll see price made a series of high lows, and that low of I think it's February 2014 remains intact to this day. But after it came off those lows, on-balance volume exhibited bearish divergence, but that didn't lead to any more downward movement. So I would rather use on-balance volume with trend lines. Let's use a trend line. It's a little bit difficult to do with motive wave though because of this annoying box in the middle. Let's see. Maybe we're going to get a better line here. Yeah, that looks okay. Make that a different color so it's obvious. Oh yeah, we're getting a bullish signal in this last completed upward week, a break above resistance. This line has a shallow slope. It's not too long held. It's only got 3 tests, so it's not a very strong bullish signal, but it is a bullish signal. In conjunction with this strong volume, I'd read that as quite bullish for the short term at least. For XRP, there's just been a crossover of the DX lines on ADX telling us there's a potential trend change, but if there is a trend change, ADX here is based on a 14-week average. It will not have caught up with that. The black ADX line is declining, no clear trend. At the weekly chart level, interesting, RSI reached oversold for the first time. That is so bullish. This downward movement reached extremely oversold, the most oversold this particular market has ever been. That is very, very bullish. Now RSI in neutral territory, plenty of room for an upward trend to develop, plenty of room to go before RSI gets overbought. Money flow index likewise reached oversold for the first time in its price history with XRP. Again, that's very bullish, that downward trend with this low down here on the week beginning 12th of June 2020. Conditions were extremely oversold. That's very bullish. ATR declining, possibly starting to show an increase, but declining throughout this bear market. Seems to be pretty normal behavior for many cryptocurrencies, not all, but many. And stochastics in neutral territory. So even if there is no clear trend, which ADX says, then let's look for resistance at 63 and above that at 86. And from the Elliott wave analysis, if we see a new high by any amount at any time above 0.61, we can have a lot of confidence in a bullish case. And then after that, I would be looking for a break above resistance of this best fit trend channel I'm going to put in here. So I'm going to put that in. I'm just going to change the color, format, move to back. So it's behind this. So that's my final line in the sand for XRP. A new low below 0.29 would see this in play. Look for support at the lower end of that channel, and invalidation point 0.12. Thank you so much for your support, and again thank you so much to the support from all the CoinsKid crew. You guys are awesome, helping me with my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you. I hope you find this useful for you today.